Hello, everybody. This is The Poison Tree by Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay. Chapter 5. Oh, Lotus-Eyed, who art thou? Kunda arrived safely with Nagendra at Govindpur. At the sight of Nagendra's dwelling, she became speechless with wonder, for she had never seen one so grand. There were 3 divisions without and 3 within. Each division was a large city. The outer mahal was entered by an iron gate that was surrounded on all sides by a handsome, lofty iron railing. From the gate a broad, red, well-metalled path extended, on each side of which were beds of fresh grass that would have formed a paradise for cows. In the midst of each plat was a circle of shrubs, all blooming with variously colored flowers. In front rose the lofty, demi-upper-roomed Boita-Khana, approached by a broad flight of steps, the veranda of which was supported by massive fluted pillars. The floor of the lower part of the house was of marble. Above the parapet, in its center, an enormous clay lion, with dependent mane, hung out its red tongue. This was Nagendra's Boita-Khana. To left and right of the grass plat stood a row of one-storied buildings containing on one side the Daftar-Khana and Kachari, on the other the storehouse, treasury, and servants' dwellings. On both sides of the gate were the doorkeepers' lodges. This first mahal was named the Kachari Bari. The next to it was the Puja Mahal. The large hall of worship formed one side of the Puja Mahal. On the other 3 sides were 2-storied houses. No one lived in this mahal. At the festival of Durga it was thronged, but now grass sprouted between the tiles of the court. Pigeons frequented the halls. The houses were full of furniture, and the doors were kept locked. Besides this was the Takarbari. In it, on one side, was the temple of the gods, the handsome stone-built dancing hall, on the remaining sides the kitchen for the gods, the dwelling room of the priests, and a guest house. In this mahal there was no lack of people. The tribe of priests with garlands on their necks and sandalwood marks on their foreheads, a troop of cooks, people bearing baskets of flowers for the altars, some bathing the gods, some ringing bells, chattering, pounding sandalwood, cooking, men and women servants bearing water, cleaning floors, washing rice, quarreling with the cooks. In the guest house, an ascetic with ash-smeared loose hair is lying sleeping. One with upraised arms, stiffened thus through years, is distributing drugs and charms to the servants of the house. A white-bearded, red-robed brahmachari, swinging his chaplet of beads, is reading from a manuscript copy of the Bhagavad Gita in the Nagari character. Holy mendicants are quarreling for their share of ghee and flour. Here, a company of emaciated Boiragis, with wreaths of tulsi round their necks and the marks of their religion painted on their foreheads, the bead fastened into the knot of hair on their heads, shaking with each movement, are beating the drums as they sing. I could not get the opportunity to speak. The elder brother Dolai was with me. The wives of the Boiragis, their hair braided in a manner pleasing to their husbands, are singing the tune of Govinda Adhikari, to the accompaniment of the tambourine. Young Vaisnavis sing with the elder women of the same class, and the middle-aged trying to bring their voices into unison with those of the old. In the midst of the courtyard, idle boys fighting and abusing each other's parents. And these 3 were the outer mahals. Behind these came the 3 inner ones. The inner mahal behind the Kachari Bari was for Nagendra's private use. In that only himself, his wife, and their personal attendants were allowed, also the furniture for their use. This place was new, built by Nagendra himself, and very well arranged. Next to it, and behind the Puja Bari, came another mahal. This was old, ill-built, the rooms low, small, and dirty. Here was a whole city full of female relations. Mother's sister and mother's cousin, father's sister and cousin, mother's widowed sister, mother's married sister, father's sister's son's wife, mother's sister's son's daughter. All these female relatives cawing day and night like a set of crows in a banyan tree. At every moment screams, laughter, quarreling, bad reasoning, gossip, reproach, and scuffing of boys, the crying of girls. Bring water, give the clothes, cook the rice, the child did not eat, where's the milk, etc., is heard as an ocean of confused sounds. Next to it, behind the takwarbari, was a cookhouse. Here a woman, having placed the rice pot on the fire, gathering up her feet, sits gossiping with her neighbor on the details of her son's marriage. Another, endeavoring to light a fire with green wood, her eyes smarting with the smoke, is abusing the gomoshta and producing abundant proof that he has supplied this wet wood to pocket part of the price. Another beauty, throwing fish into the hot oil, closes her eyes and twists her 10 fingers, making a grimace, for oil leaping forth has burnt her skin. One, having bathed her long hair, plentifully besmeared with oil, braiding it in a curve on the temples and fastening it in a knot on the top of her head, stirs the pulse cooking in an earthen pot, like Krishna prodding the cows with a stick. Here Bami, Kaimi, Gopal's mother, Nipal's mother are shredding with a big knife vegetable pumpkins, brinjals, the sound of the cutting steel mingling with abuse of the neighbors, of the masters, of everybody. That Golapi has become a widow very young, that Chandi's husband is a great drunkard, that Koilash's husband has secured a fine appointment as writer to the Doraga. There could not be in the world such a flying journey as that of Gopal, no, such a wicked child as Parvati's. How the English must be of the race of the Ravan. How Bhagirati has bought Ganga. How Shambiswas was the lover of the daughter of the Bhattacharyajas. With many other subjects. A dark, stout-bodied woman, placing a large bonti on the head of ashes in the court, is cutting fish. The kites, frightened at her gigantic size and her quick-handedness, keeping away, yet now and again darting forward to peck at the fish. Here a white-haired woman is bringing water. There one with powerful hands is grinding spices. Here in the storehouse a servant, a cook, and the storekeeper are quarreling together. The storekeeper maintaining the ghee I have given is the right quantity, the cook disputing it, the servant saying, "We could manage with the quantity you give if you left the storehouse unlocked." In the hope of receiving doles of rice, many children and beggars with their dogs are sitting waiting. And the cats do not flatter anyone. They watch their opportunity, steal in, and help themselves. Here a cow without an owner is feasting with closed eyes upon the husk of pumpkins, other vegetables, and fruit. Behind these 3 inner mahals is the flower garden, and further yet a broad tank, blue as the sky. This tank is walled in. The inner house, the women's, has 3 divisions, and in the flower garden is a private path, and at each end of the path 2 doors. And these doors are private. They give entrance to the 3 mahals of the inner house. Outside the house are the stables, the elephant house, the kennels, the cow house, the aviaries, etc. Kundanandini, full of astonishment at Nagendra's unbounded wealth, was borne in a palanquin to the inner apartments, where she saluted Surjamukhi, who received her with a blessing. Having recognized in Nagendra the likeness of the man she had seen in her dream, Kundanandini doubted whether his wife would not resemble the female figure she had seen later. But the sight of Surjamukhi removed this doubt. Surjamukhi was of a warm golden color, like the full moon. The figure in the dream was dark. Surjamukhi's eyes were beautiful, but not like those in the dream. They were long deer eyes, extending to the side hair, the eyebrows joined in a beautiful curve over the dilated, densely black pupils, full but steady. The eyes of the dark woman in the dream were not so enchanting. Then Surjamukhi's features were not familiar. The dream figure was dwarfish, Surjamukhi rather tall, her figure swaying with the beauty of the honeysuckle creeper. The dream figure was beautiful, but Surjamukhi was 100-fold more so. The dream figure was not more than 20 years of age. Surjamukhi was nearly 26. Kunda saw clearly that there was no resemblance between the two. Surjamuki conversed pleasantly with Kunda, and summoned the attendants to the chief, among whom she said, "This is Kunda, whom I shall give Taracharn in marriage. Therefore see that you treat her as my brother's wife." The servant expressed her assent, and took Kunda aside with her to another place. At sight of her, Kunda's flesh crept. A cold moisture came from her head to foot. The female figure which Kunda in her dream had seen her mother's figures trace upon the heavens, this servant was the lotus-eyed, dark-complexioned woman. Kunda, agitated with fear, breathing with difficulty, asked, "Who are you?" The servant answered, "My name is Hira."